In the Gun, episode 116 here of ITG. It is time for our Week 11 Pick'em, our Week 10 recap, and we might have some big news on the way here. But first, as always, I am Wesley Euler with the best teammates in the business. We got the signal caller, Jed Drenning. We got the runaway beer truck himself, Mr. Big Dog Owen Schmidt. In this episode of ITG, as always, brought to you in part by our friends at BetOnline, where the game starts. And Jed, when we do these Pick'em episodes, recap episodes, of course, we always start with you letting us know, recapping how we all did last week.
Well, let's start with mine. The hex is broken. That's bad news because I wanted to use it this week. I picked for my signal caller, my passing offense, top passing offense to throw for the most yards in the Big 12. Last week, I picked Oklahoma and Dylan Gabriel to throw for the most yards in Bedlam of any Big 12 team. Here I was. I didn't know it, but I'd already lost because TCU played Thursday night. Well, TCU with Josh Hoover against Texas Tech threw for 353 in a losing effort. Meanwhile, Oklahoma, I was actually in the Mountaineer locker room with minutes to burn before we went back out on the field in those final 15, 20 minutes. And I'm tracking on the game cast on my phone the final minute of Bedlam. And here I was really hoping Oklahoma State kind of held on, but I just want to send Oklahoma off, and I hope we can pitch in and help out
Same here.
getting into the SEC.
Same here.
But meanwhile, Oklahoma's down 3 and they're driving, and I realized, man, Dylan Gabriel has 344 yards. All I need is one more first down, and I'm in first place. And I'm like, man, I hope he doesn't get it. Man, I hope he doesn't get it. And sure enough, they went for it on 4th and 5, picked up 3 games. Oklahoma lost. I didn't get first place. They finished in second. So I had the second most passing yards. So I'm awarded 4 points. Now, under ordinary circumstances, 4 points wouldn't be so bad, right? But last week was anything but ordinary circumstances.
It was a record-setting week for
So
all of us across the board.
absolutely, including our listeners. So let's go. Owen, you went with your beer truck, your rushing offense of the week. You selected the old Gold and Blue, West Virginia, and they delivered. They ran for 336 yards. What are you holding up there? I can't even see. Oh, okay. I'm half blind. I see what it is now. Okay. So it's tattoo. Okay.
Mountaineers.
So 336 yards. And guess what? That was the standard bearer in the Big 12, Owen. The 336. That was the most yards West Virginia has rushed for against an FBS team, I believe, since the snow game against Baker in 2016, Oklahoma and Morgantown. So the most in 7 years. We were just talking last week when we ran for 286 against UCF. Most since 2017. Well, now it's the most since 2016. I like this trend. So maybe after the Sooners game Saturday, we'll be saying the most since Big O was playing, right?
There we go.
Let's go for that. I like this trend. So Owen wins his beer truck of the week. Ding, ding, ding. The full 7 points for first place. Wes, speaking of positive trends, you selected for your defense of the week to allow the fewest points the West Virginia homestanding Mountaineers. And in a tackle football game in Morgantown, they came oh so very close to the goose egg. Oh, they did. They came so close. Almost pulled it off. Little consolation touchdown late for the BYU guys. West Virginia held BYU to 7 points. Excellent effort on the defensive side for West Virginia. In fact, that effort was good enough to be number one in the Big 12, the fewest points allowed by any Big 12 defense. As a matter of fact, I saw Jordan Leslie this week, Owen, listed, and West listed as the Big 12 Defensive Coordinator of the Week by a national outlet. So 7 points allowed by West Virginia.
Real quick. Just remember, kids, remember, this is why you go with your heart and not your head. Because remember, I was going to pick Texas as my defense of the week, and then I just went with an emotional decision to switch to the Mountaineers. How about that?
Always follow the emotion. So, 7 points by West Virginia. That was the fewest allowed in the Big 12. West wins, finishing in first place in the defensive category. Ding, ding, ding. He gets the full 7 points for first place. Skyler, here comes the Sky Man. He picked For his offense, please stop me when you see a trend emerging. He picked for the offense to score the most points of the week in the Big 12, the West Virginia Mountaineers. Did they deliver? They did indeed. The 37 points against BYU turned out to be the most points scored by any Big 12 offense this week. Ding, ding, ding. So the Sky Man finishes in first place. So he gets the full 7 points for first place. So, guys, West Virginia finished first in 3 out of 4 categories. Sign me up for that every week. That was
weekend.
Downright impressive. No doubt about that. So, thoughts, comments, snide remarks, what you got?
Well, I thought I was going to make some traction there, but since my buddies went with me, pretty much even across the board there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a heck of a week from all of us. 3 first-place finishes and a second-place finish. I mean, Jed, I can't even really rag on you. I mean, you had a second-place finish yourself out of, a 14 different options, and we're all finishing first or second. That's pretty darn good. That's why you come here for your knowledge, folks.
And
I tell you what.
Who was first in passing again?
TCU.
TCU.
By 9 yards. But again, I was sitting there tracking the Oklahoma game. Oh, when they had the ball at midfield down by 3 in Bedlam. And I'm thinking, I really would like them to move the ball just for 9, 10 more yards to get first place, but I'd rather they lose. So when they stopped them on 4th down, I'm like, all right, sign me up. I'll take it. And
Jed, we
Oklahoma
are
lost.
thankful.
I'll take it.
We are thankful for your sacrifice. That is for sure. So what does that mean for the standings? Not much, since we all kind of had a pretty darn good week. Jed has 11 points now in 4th place. Owen and Skylar continue to be a tight race there, 2nd and 3rd. Skylar's in 2nd with 27. Owen in 3rd with 24. And then those guys are both hot on my heels. I've got 31 points now in 1st place. So we are coming down the home stretch here. Just 3 more weeks of this, and we will let you know how it all shakes out. But that's where we're at now. I'm in 1st with 31. Skylar in 2nd with 27. Owen with 24. And Jed with a Bruce Irvin 11. All right, before we go to break and give our picks on the other side, big moment here now in the gun history. Not only did we have ourselves a week on the show, we almost went 4 for 4 with our picks, but one of our listeners did. Jed, for the first time in our history, we've got our Neil Armstrong. We've got our 4 for 4.
He's coming. We're going to close the segment, and he will send us to break. What's going to happen is, let's talk about the 4 categories real quick. How did the listeners fare in picking the passing offense, rushing offense, scoring defense, scoring offense? Here we go. How many picked the passing offense correct? 2. So you know one of them was the winner, right? 2. Oh, what's this? That's new. For those listening and not watching, balloons just came up like a creepy clown show on Wes's computer.
I guess when I put the number 2, balloons come up. What happens if I do the number 3?
I'm looking for it hiding under your desk there.
What happens if I do the? All right, never mind.
What are you going to ask? So 2 got the passing offense right. How many got the rushing offense right?
2.
22.
Wow.
22.
People really are influenced by me.
That's right, they are. You carry sway, my friend. You carry sway. Now, how many picked the scoring defense right? 22.
22.
Oh!
How many picked the scoring offense right? For Skylar, 9. 9. So I continue to take pride in the most elusive category in our competition. Not even close. Guys, that's 3 correct picks in 3 weeks for the passing offense by all our listeners combined. So I don't feel so bad.
That's
okay.
Crazy.
3 in 3 weeks by every listener pitching in to help me. We still can't do it. So here we go. How many listeners got 3 right? Well, I'll tell you what. Oh, Josh Helms picked the Mountaineers in all 4. So he got 3 out of 4 right. Not a bad strategy this week for Josh Helms. Shout out to Josh Helms. You nailed 3 out of 4. I'm going to work my way down the list. We had Kevin Fuller got 2 out of 4, both West Virginia. Jesse Eli, 2 out of 4. Mike Vest, surfaces once again with 2 out of 4. We didn't subject our viewers to his picture last week. Skylar said I can't do that. So moving on down, we had Brian Moffitt. Brian's name surfaced on here before.
Yeah.
He's a regular. He's productive. I'll tell you what, he's a very serviceable starter. Slide Brian Moffitt in there. He got 2 correct. Chris Little got 2 correct, both West Virginia. Art Wilkerson got 2 correct, both West Virginia. Bobby Berry. Shout out to Bobby Berry because he got 2 correct and they weren't both West Virginia. One was West Virginia with the scoring offense, and the other one, he was the only other person to get the passing offense correct in TCU.
Jed, if there were 22 people that got the run game and the offense, right? I mean, we probably had a lot of people.
But it doesn't align like that.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? It doesn't align perfectly like that. Yeah. Yeah. Some people just got, one or the other and all that kind of stuff. So working our way down, Daniel Sargent. Yep.
Jed, is Brian Gray, did he participate?
Yes, he did. And you're about to get to him. Let me see here. Let me see. Actually, he did. I'll get to him in 1 second because he's now toward the bottom. Daniel Sargent got 2 right. Glenn Blake. Now, I know a Glenn Blake. He was one of my Pop Warner football coaches, and I'm wondering if it's the same one. I need to find that out. He got 3 out of 4 right. He picked West Virginia for all 4. He was 3 for 4. Good job. By Snack. If it's the same Glenn Blake I know, we call him Snack. Benjamin Gilbert got 2 right. I'm saving our winner for last. Brian Gray got 2 right. Let me see. 11-2. Okay. Joe Bashaw got 3 right. Yeah, Joe Bashaw got 3 right. 10:01 a.m. Okay. And then that might have come in after the TCU game. Anyway, that kind of wraps that up, but we're going to get to our winner. So here's what we're going to do. First of all, we sent an email out to our winner. He is going to get a t-shirt. He's going to get a signed rookie card. He's going to be the charter member of our winners club because we hope to have other winners in the future. So he will have a say in that.
We're going to have to bring him on the pod for one of these shows, dude.
We might have to. That might be an off-season project we have. Yeah. We might need to bring him onto the pod. Again, I reached out by email. We're waiting to hear back. We'd like to post a picture, but one way or the other, without further ado, this fella, 4 for 4, our first ever 4 for 4, the first ever to plant the flag on the ITG moon, much like Neil Armstrong so many years ago. A couple moments as Skylar pulls this up and cues it with the music. Jake
from State Farm.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Jake from State Farm. Jake Botel. I asked in the email how to pronounce the name, but I didn't get it yet. Jake Botel, Bowtell. He obviously selected West Virginia for the 3 categories that you guys nailed. He obviously selected TCU for the passing offense. So Jake was 4 for 4. Wow. Now, just one second, guys. Is that the same Jake that is our Australian friend?
Oh, it might be.
Is that the same Jake that is our Australian friend?
It might be.
I think it might be.
Tell me how he spells his last name again.
Bowtell.
That is our Aussie buddy.
That's our Aussie friend.
Oi.
Congratulations to Neil Armstrong, aka Jake Botel, down under. Wow, how about that? So no wonder he hasn't gotten back the email. I don't think it's been delivered there. What is it, 4:00 in the morning? Wow, that's impressive. That is very impressive.
That's awesome.
So, well, I tell you what, the picture problem solved because I know where to find pictures of Jake. He posts them on his Twitter account all the time when he follows us.
There you go.
Congratulations to Jake. He is the first winner in the Winners Club. He is our Neil Armstrong. He plants his flag on the ITG moon. He is the charter member, the founding member of the Winners Club. We hope to have other members of the club. But Owen, I'm glad you work for UPS because I'm starting to wonder what it's going to cost to ship Jake Botel your rookie card, the T-shirt.
Probably a couple bucks for
A
sure.
couple bucks, yeah, couple bucks, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So congratulations to Jake Botel.
That's
Wow,
awesome,
that's
man.
impressive.
That's fantastic. Jake, we hope to have many others in the future, but you will always be our first partner.
Hey, he's the first one, man. We're gonna have to get a little
We're gonna have to set something up,
enshrinement.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
And you know what? Let's see if we can get Phil to give Jake a shout out on Friday, Phil Friday.
There we
That'd be
go.
pretty
Now
cool
we're
to get a
talking.
shout out from Phil Steele, our boy
Now
Phil
we're
Steele,
talking.
friend of the show. So yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna hook him up. We're gonna make Fly Fun for him. That's kind of interesting how all that came together. He's been a very active fan of the show for quite
Yeah.
some time. He posts a lot of cool stuff, from his account over there in Australia. He said that he found his Once and Forever podcast, and he's a Mountaineer football fan now. So he's once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer, even down under. That is really cool, Jake Botel. So that's who that was.
Big shout out to Jake, our very own Neil Armstrong. Wait, Jake might not get the Neil Armstrong reference because he's not American. Jake, if you don't get the Neil, that's a good point. But do they? I mean, do they
no
care? Do they
Australian
care
moon.
as
There's
much
just
about
a
the moon
moon,
land?
right?
Do they care about the moon landing as much in Australia as we? I don't know.
I'm sure they do.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's an Earthling landing on the moon, right? So
That's a fair point by you. Jake, big congratulations, buddy. Thanks to everybody who participates. Listen, we need our Buzz Aldrin still, right? We need our second man or women on the moon. So keep playing, and maybe we'll continue to have some cool prizes and things like that involved. We've got to get to a break here. When we come back on the other side, we'll give our picks for week. You good, Big O?
Yes, I was just thinking I'm definitely sending Jake a trust logger.
You want to talk about expensive to ship and figure out down to Australia. But let's see if we can do that for sure. If we can make that happen,
by kangaroo.
If we can make that happen, that'll be fantastic.
You know what's funny? A buddy of mine, if we'd have known this like in the summer, a buddy of mine who's a doctor, Cecil Holbert out of Philippines, Cecil and his family went. His son actually performed at the symphony or at the Opera House in Sydney, so we could have just sent it with him.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I have been to Australia once, but it was a long time ago, and I don't know when I'll get back there. But Jake, if I do anytime soon, I'm bringing some trust loggers for you. Congratulations. And yeah, we'll have some cool, make sure you get back to Jed's email, and we'll have some cool stuff lined up for you for sure. We'll give our picks for week 11 on the other side. You are in the gun.
Nobody supports the blue and gold Mountaineers like Toothman Ford. With over 20 NIL deals and counting, Toothman Ford continues to rally behind our student athletes. And it's time we rally and support the dealer that supports the Mountaineers. Not only does Toothman Ford offer the best prices in the state on pre-owned, their never over MSRP campaign on new Fords guaranteed to save you thousands. Drive with pride all season long, knowing you're supporting the dealer that fuels our Mountaineers. Toothman Ford, where cars cost less, in Grafton and at toothmanford.com.
For more West Virginia Mountaineer football content, be sure to follow us on Twitter at In the Gun Podcast.
For nearly 20 years, Fortis has been the nation's leader in providing guaranteed roof performance programs for commercial buildings. Fortis offers roof performance solutions that feature extensive initial and ongoing reconditioning for commercial buildings as an alternative to traditional replacement, with long-term performance guarantees that are backed by global leader Lloyd's of London. Fortis offers a comprehensive range of roof performance management programs that provide financial security, extend the life of our customers' roofs, and make a significant impact on ROI. Fortis is currently improving performance and increasing ROI for customers at more than 4,800 locations, with more than 140 million square feet protected, including many Fortune 500 companies that have turned to Fortis to save money, gain financial certainty, and extend the life of their existing roofs. Fortis has helped customers save more than $520 million in capital roof replacement costs for an average ROI of over 250%. To learn more, visit fortis.us.com. Fortis, roof performance and financial certainty guaranteed.
Let's go, Mountaineer fans. You're tuned in to In the Gun with Wes, the Runaway Beer Truck, and the Signal Caller.
Back in the gun here. It's time for our Week 11 Pick'em here on the program. We will start with Big O, the Runaway Beer Truck. Big O, your beer truck offense of the week. Who's going to run for the most yards in the conference?
I'm going with the sophomore sensation from OSU, the OG, the second, Ollie Gordon.
Always a good
Going
pick.
down to the bounce house.
Always a good pick.
And probably about to throw them out the club.
Yeah. About to bounce them
about
out
to
the
bounce
club at the bounce house. That was a good one. Yeah, he might have 400 yards on the ground before that one's all said and done. So Big O going with the Big O. Ollie Gordon, the second of the Cowboys
little
there. The
That's
little
the
O.
little
That's
O.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Mr. Drenning, your signal caller offense of the week. Who's going to throw for the most yards in the conference?
Well, since the hex is over, and I nearly won and finished in second last week, I can't curse anybody, or I would certainly curse Oklahoma. So much for the Kenny Powers shaking the dice dance move to hex somebody. So that's over. So I tinkered with the fighting Dana Holgersons and Donovan Smith at home against Cincinnati because I think they'll have to put it up against that Cincinnati front because they're not built like Oklahoma State to run like that. And Cincinnati against most mortals is difficult to run on. But I'm back and forth. Wes, you kind of tilted me when you said go with your heart. I want Texas to lose. I want Texas to be stunned. I want Texas to be upset and shocked. Texas has quarterback issues right now. Quinn Ewers is out. Malik Murphy stepped in. He was picked off a couple times last week. Probably should have been picked off one or two more times. He's putting the football in harm's way. There's even chatter that Manning might be considered for some action this week. Arch Manning. I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know what's going to happen there. But I just think the recipe sets up against a very desperate TCU team that's coming off a national championship appearance, sitting here with 4 wins, and they still have Texas and Oklahoma left on the schedule. They're at home against Texas. Everybody in the state of Texas hates Texas even more than we do. It sets up that I might go with I'm just going to go with Josh Hoover, the young gunslinger for TCU, who's been in since Chandler Morris was injured. I'm going to go with TCU to throw for the most yards. Going with my heart, like you said, I'm hoping it's enough to stun, shock, and just completely ambush Texas, but we'll see.
Hey, here's the hoping. I'm with you on that one. So Owen goes with Okie State for beer truck. Jed goes with TCU for signal caller. Our guy Skyler, he's going to go with EMAW. He's going to go with Kansas State as his Big 12 offense of the week. They are at home hosting the Baylor Bears. I believe, quick double check. Yes, they are the biggest spread favorite in the conference this week. 20.5-point favorites at home against a Baylor team that is struggling. That really puts it into perspective right there, how much Baylor is struggling. So Skyler will go with Kansas State, the Wildcats, as his offense of the week. And gentlemen, I will go with Iowa State, the Cyclones, as my defense of the week. I know in primetime, BYU's record is amazing. Yeah, they took a big fat L this past Saturday in primetime, but they've done really well in primetime. They've done really well at home. I get it. All these signs that could point to BYU having a bounce back performance, but I think it's going to be same church, different pew of what we saw on Saturday. I think BYU is going to struggle still to run the football against Iowa State, and that's going to lead them to struggling on offense. I think for the Cougars right now, they're in a rough spot. They're really banged up, and they can't run the football, and that's a bad combination for your offense. If you're really banged up and you can't run the football to kind of control things and move the chains and stay ahead of the chains and all those different things, I'm a little worried about BYU right now. So I'm going to go Iowa State. I know it's on the road in prime time. They're where in Provo they have great success in prime time at home. But I'm going to go Cyclones for my defense of the week. So there's our week 11 pick 'em, boys. That over-under is 42.5, right?
And that seems high. I mean, I would expect a lower scoring game than that. I really would.
Yeah. I feel like I get to cheat sometimes in this when we get matchups like this. Now, you never know. BYU could go out there and score 37 points. I mean, they certainly could. They're capable of doing that.
What they're trying to do for the first time this year, Wes, BYU still doesn't have 400 yards in a game.
Well, there you go. Is Matt Canada their offensive coordinator? Ew.
Yeah, really. They got that streak going. That streak the Steelers have is unbelievable. But anyway, that's just
It is hilarious. Yeah, so many straight games without 400 yards on offense. That's the joke that Jed and I are laughing about there. So there's our picks for Week 11. You guys already know the drill. In the YouTube description, you can find the link to get involved on our Twitter page at In the Gun Podcast as well too. That's where we post the link for you to make your picks every single week. We now have Jake Botel, our very own Neil Armstrong, but somebody still has got to be Buzz Aldrin and be the second person to land on that moon. So you know where to get at us if you want to get involved. Some final thank yous here to Toothman Ford. Of course, we all know cars cost less in Grafton, and to Fortis as well too for roof performance and financial security guaranteed. Visit fortis.us.com. The one thing we ask of you as always is to be an ear and tell an ear about your new favorite WVU football podcast. Still plenty to come this week. We've got the Oklahoma preview, the Sooners preview dropping tomorrow, and then Phil Friday, of course, on Friday. So plenty to go as we roll along in this week. For the signal caller, Jed Drenning, and the runaway beer truck, Owen Schmidt, a thank you as well, too, to our producer, Skylar Callahan. I am Wesley Euler, and you've been In the Gun.